Chicken jockey.
Are
we recording?
Chicken jockey.
We're live. What's up, guys?
Coop, did you actually see the Minecraft movie? Or you're
Not
just,
yet,
you're just,
but it's on my
just in
agenda.
mainland?
It's on my
It's
agenda.
on the agenda. He's going.
You know, I was a little preoccupied in the desert this weekend. Coachella.
It looked
having
so
a great time.
It looked so great.
It looked like a movie, Coop.
Yeah. Honestly, best festival I've been to in the US in a very long time. A number of years. I would give the rating on the fest maybe like a 9.1 out of 10. It's very high for me.
It deserves that. It looked great online.
The variety of the artists playing, the entertainment value, the people, the general vibe, the weather, just all around beautiful experience. That's all I can say.
Who did you go see?
Who did I see? We had a lot of Coop Records artists playing, so that was my main focus for the weekend. Some shout outs off the top of my head. Chris Lake, Thursday night, opening for the Campgrounds. Absolutely insane set. Post Malone, absolutely slayed it. Amazing artist. Charlie set was pretty crazy. People were jumping around, having a good time. I spent most of my time at...
Billy showed up, right?
Billy showed up, little special guest. Most of my time was spent at the Do-Lab stage, which is like the electronic stage at Coachella. So we had Notion there, A-Trip, Zed's Dead, Levity, Shipwreck, Salute, Disco Lines, Barry Can't Swim, Swimming Paul. So it was just a great balance of like, you know, Coop Records artists. So many Coop Records songs being played during the festival, which fired me up. And my favorite meme of the weekend was just whenever there'd be a Coop Records song, I just go, "This song's Onchain. You can collect it for 70 cents and get a download and rewards in the record label." And like Notion's playing The Days, and I'm like, 60K market cap, 60K market cap.
Dude, you should have had a QR code on you. You should have been like a walking QR.
You should have had one of those T-shirts where the QR code is on the back.
Yeah.
And you just scan the QR code off the back of your shirt, and you're in token land. You're just...
I think you have a good opportunity, Coop, given your height, to have like a big hat or something, you know, with a nice QR code.
Wait, you should run an IRL quest. You should go next. You're going next weekend as well, right?
Yeah.
You should run an IRL quest. I know, just swallow the bullet. I know it's going to be awkward, but try to onboard people in the crowd, have a QR code, and help them earn crypto by collecting Coop Record coins. I think that'd be such a fun experiment. And then have somebody
you can take the base challenge to the next level.
Literally,
the base challenge.
Coop, I have a question for you. Did you finance that ticket to Coachella?
Yeah.
Wait, did you actually
finance that ticket?
60% of concert goers took out a loan.
Yeah.
To fucking
go
to
no way.
Coachella. Yes.
Yeah, 60% did buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
don't know if it's a loan, but I think it's like one of those checkout options that it's like, you know, pay over 6 months or whatever, 12 months.
Technically,
it is a loan. But aren't they like interest free with like Affirm and stuff?
I
don't know if they're all interest. I'm curious, were these ones interest free?
Wait. We got to let Coop answer. Did you take out a loan to go to Coachella?
I did not take out a loan to go to Coachella, no.
Damn.
The bear market's not hitting them that bad.
Yeah.
I will say that despite having a guest pass, which is like, you know, artist viewing and stuff like that, my takeaway from the weekend is the best place to be at a music festival is in GA with your friends. It's so much better than like, you know, VIP or artist area where people are kind of like looking around, trying to be all flashy and stuff like that. Just find a good group, go lock in somewhere in GA, watch the music, enjoy the show. Can't beat it. Really can't beat it.
That.
My last thing I was going to say, though, is my newest thought around onboarding is that at electronic shows now, they hand out all these little trinkets during the show. So you can get like these little rubber ducks, or you can get these like little sprouts that people clip onto you, or these little stickers or something. So what I'm ideating on this week is like, what is the Coop Rex trinket that we can hand out during the show? Or if someone's at like a Zed's Dead concert and they're dancing really hard and it's a song that we recognize something, what do I like give them? That's like a fun little collectible for them, but then they can either tap it, IYK chip, scan a QR code.
Easy. Go to Naomi Metzger's Twitter page. She did this entire campaign where she helped random people on the street like earn crypto or earn some rewards. And I feel like you can order a bunch of those cards just to hand out as you meet people. That'd be really cool.
I don't think it'd be a card though. It has to be something that's like fun, like something that's fun and, you know,
something more collectible.
Playful. Yeah.
You're not just going to throw out in the trash.
Like the ducks are like the mini ducks are really fun and people have like a little assortment of them. You know what I mean? So I think the intention's correct, Chevy. I think the orientation of what it is, though, that's secret sauce to figure out next.
Love that. Very cool. I got a lot of FOMO. I got a lot of FOMO watching all these live streams and like snippets on TikTok and whatnot. It looked so cool.
Aren't you a big Lady Gaga fan?
Not big, but the new album is great. I will give it to her. The new album is great. And there's this drummer that I've been following on Instagram for years. And he has that gig performing with Lady Gaga, and he's probably gonna do the entire tour. He's like this like random drummer, Tosh the drummer, and literally been following him since the beginning. And to see him on Coachella was like really cool. And he had all these like snippets of him playing. So I love the live production of it versus Lady Gaga herself, like the live music element. Some of the best musicians in the world are playing with her. And just to be in that crowd and see that energy is it's like the same thing with Adele. Like, okay, her music is great, but her production and her music in general with all the instruments, the full orchestra, like all that stuff is just so entertaining and so cool to be a part of.
Yep. I like that. The other set that just stood out to me that I thought about was Yo Gabba Gabba.
I saw that.
I was ripping Yo Gabba Gabba.
Did you go to Green Day?
Green Day was great. They opened with Bohemian Rhapsody, actually, by Queen.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Benson Boone. I wish I was able to see Benson Boone. Brought out the guitarist from Queen. What's his name? Brian May, right? Iconic.
Just flipping around up there.
Iconic.
My hot take is, you know what? I didn't love his sound, at least like with the videos that I saw.
Benson Boone?
Yeah.
With the critic.
Gotta go.
I don't know. Got a critic. We'll get a critic on here.
I don't know.
But I also got an acai bowl during the festival that was very good.
For those who don't know, Cooper
and eating all day.
Let's drill down on the acai bowl, Coop. This is a key topic for us. What were you rating it? Well, give us some highlights on that acai bowl.
In the moment, 9.2. Because when I go to a festival normally, acai bowls suck. They're all icy. They're terrible. They're not branded. They're just like some weird concoction they put together. This was Backyard Bowls running a formal stand at Coachella. So we got almond butter. We got gluten-free granola in there. We got protein powder, all the toppings. Gave me all the energy I need. Also, there's a kazunori at Coachella, which is really sick.
That's
so I had kazunori on Friday afternoon.
Basically, Cooper's entire diet.
Literally my entire diet was at the
acai bowls, like.
All right, let's take a bet real quick. Did Cooper eat anything besides kazunori and the acai bowls over the weekend?
Festival?
Yes. I'm willing to bet against that.
I'm gonna go no.
I'm gonna go no.
You guys don't know what happens after 12 a.m. Cooper.
I mean, Chevy is correct. The only other thing that I ate was my eggs at 3 a.m. in the morning.
There it is.
Chevy had insider info.
There it
is. He just knows me well. He's a good friend.
But no other food was purchased. That was just like eggs. Like if you were buying food it was kazunori or acai bowls.
That's correct.
Let's walk this back. Eggs are your late night snack, Coop?
It's what I have before I go to bed.
Fried, sunny side up,
scrambled eggs, probably.
Scrambled. I mean, at this point, this topic is riveting for our viewers, so I'm gonna have to respectfully dovetail us out of this. But I do love my scrambled eggs at 3 a.m.
That's a crazy late night. That is a crazy.
That's an interesting late night snack.
I have a question. I'm raising my hand over here.
Raise your hand.
All right. I think it's fair to assume, outside of the fashion component of Coachella, I'd say a significant percentage of people who spent money going to Coachella and invested their time that weekend are the ideal people that we want to bring on chain, are the people who are going to be spending money collecting music, potentially. I can only imagine maybe what was going through your head as you're on the crowd of normies, towering over everyone, thinking, how do we bring these people on chain? Did you have a moment of reflection beyond the trinkets?
Bro, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's all I think about all the time when I'm at festivals, to be honest with you. It's just like, how do I actually get these people to do something on chain? I don't have.
Did you talk to any of them? Like, did you interview?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm getting like slow little increments of feedback, and I'm just taking that feedback and giving it to my team to refine like our mobile experience on the product. But if I had to just like look at it from a high level, no one cares about crypto, which is the interesting thing. Because before it was like people like thought it was cringe or they didn't like it or had an adverse reaction to it. It's not like the cool kid on the block anymore. It's just AI now. And so when I say to people like, oh, what do you do for work? Oh, I run a crypto record label. They're just like, huh, that's interesting. And when I explain it to them, they're like, okay, I could see how that could make sense. But they don't have like a propensity or desire to go out of their way to engage with it because it doesn't like pull them in. They're just kind of like aware of it. And then basically they just ask me like, what's going on with Bitcoin? What shitcoin could I buy? it's still just like, I just want to make, whenever they hear crypto, they just want to make money fast. They don't think of it as a place that they can actually like make friends or have a fun social experience, if that makes sense.
How do we get people to care about crypto?
I mean, I don't know if I said this on the, do not put this in the podcast. I think I told you guys this. Like the feedback I got on my deck was like, take out the crypto stuff and like talk about it as like a background thing.
Yep. I think that's very accurate. I mean, I feel like my thought process around crypto has changed so drastically as a result of how much time I'm spending around just like normal music people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't think about it as much. Like when I'm at a set, I'm not necessarily there being like, oh, like I wish I could fucking bet on this song or invest on this song or something. I'm like, this shit's fun. You know, I'm just with my friends. We're just out there vibing. We're having a good time. Drinks are flowing.
Yeah, Cooper's just downing drinks. You know, he's just getting so fucked up.
Downing those waters.
All right,
the best part of Coachella
ready?
is $2 waters.
$3,
That's
$2.
very affordable.
Bring it back. 3, 2, 1. My biggest question in all this is how do we get these people to care about crypto?
Mm-hmm.
And any quick insights on your end, Coop, on that being fresh with all these folks?
Man, I mean, I think it just comes down to it being like fun and engaging socially. I think that the trading stuff kind of ebbs and flows with the market. And I think that people are always going to want to kind of like invest in Bitcoin to some degree. But I just think that the scalable path for crypto is probably not like betting on things in the moment. It's just like doing these fun social experiences that lets you connect with your friends and remember the moments that you had. I mean, I know that sounds kind of like cliche, but that's what I believe fundamentally is like people just want to have a good time. They just want to meet friends and they just want to like show that they were doing something cool after the fact, you know?
I think the other thing, like maybe we've all been thinking, it's like we're always like, how do we get people to use crypto? How do we get people to use crypto? I don't think people were like, how do we get people to use the PC? I mean, they did ask that question, but then it was like, let's give them stuff that they already do. Let's let them use Microsoft Word and whatever year that was. Yeah, and Paint. Yeah.
It's not like people like needed Paint, but it was just like fun. Or like AIM, you know what I mean? Like people didn't need AIM. It was just like a fun way to connect people together.
I feel so disconnected from what we're doing. Like
you don't?
Just given that crowd. Yeah. Like people don't care about crypto. Like our users that we've built for, just like they're not the people. Like they probably some of them probably went to a music festival before. They do listen to music, but I don't know. It's so disconnected. I have such a hard time with it.
Well, I think I get people in our Discord who are basically like, I love music. Like I like that I was collecting this and like this song is awesome. And then they didn't even know that it was a artist that they can listen to on Spotify, and then they go listen to it on Spotify. So I think we're all giving our users and fans something that they're interested in. But the question is like, maybe not calling it crypto is the key. Like what about the specific platform they're on is making it interesting, and it's different for all of us. But like for like Cooper a couple weeks ago when he was talking about like being able to like the digital download of the song, like that's what's going to make things like that is what's going to make Coop Records successful.
I also just feel like one realization I had this weekend is that it's going to work if you just give it a long enough time horizon. You know what I mean? Like it really is just a question of just allowing things to mature more naturally and not getting too caught up in it. And at least for me, you know, my biggest goal going into Coachella was just to be present and just have a great time and just be grateful for, you know, the fact that this music festival exists and that all these artists are playing and whatnot, and not try and get too like stressed out about like needing to make something happen right away. Because I do realize that within music specifically, and I'm sure this is the same with other creator verticals, is it all just comes down to trust. Like you don't win over the trust of an artist or creator by like spamming them with your hot new product that like, you know, you got to get on this thing because it's going to change your life in the future, blah, blah, blah. Like you just got to be friends with these people first and foremost. And so for me, admittedly, it wasn't like I was out there like shilling Coop Records every second, but I was able to have a lot of very natural conversations because I found myself in environments where people were just like curious about what we did for a living and just how we spent our time and whatnot. And then in those moments, that's when I started to get real genuine feedback from people who don't own any crypto, don't care about it at all, and were able to like really help me identify like this does not make any sense. This is way too niche. I like X, Y, and Z aspects about it, but like all this other shit around like, you know, collecting and buying with ETH and making a wallet and 0x addresses and whatnot, like that just doesn't resonate at all.
Yeah. I
Gotta
think the
work around
first
it.
thing is like, one, it starts with the creator and being able to just show the value to that. And then I think the second thing, Adam, is like reframing your question of how do we get these people to care about crypto? I think the tough answer, the tough pill to swallow is that they're not going to care about crypto.
So David and Adam, three-way podcast this time, baby.
It's you know, we're down a man today. It's tough. It's tough out here. It's the trio.
The last week, just being at this festival and being away from the screen, I didn't think about crypto like once. Literally one time. I didn't think about like the price of ETH or like, you know, what was going on in the trenches or like shit
Do you
coins
think
or
that would
anything.
be different if we were in a bull market though? Like, it's a great time to be stepping away from the screen. Nothing, you didn't miss anything.
Are we not in a bull market though?
No.
We are definitely not in a bull
No.
market.
How?
In any market. No market is in a bull market.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. It could change tomorrow, but like, I don't think
But
people.
it won't. It was very difficult for me to answer questions this weekend about like why is Bitcoin down? Why is ETH down? Like, is it going to come back up? Should I invest more money into it right now? I was like, I mean, I'm optimistic it'll come around in the next 6 to 12 months, but I don't have like a confidence that like this market's just going to suddenly change all, you know, out of the blue. I was like, we kind of got to figure some shit out here. Like, this feels like a very crucial moment to like actually have to prove real world value beyond just like another wave of Bored Apes type shit. You know what I mean? I really like this tweet from 0x Designer. People collect things to feel a sense of belonging. It's identity signaling. People don't collect things for profit. That's flipping, not collecting. Where did all the on-chain collecting go? I think that this was a really good articulation that there is a opportunity for people to collect as a form of social validation and not just to make money. I think that the money part works when it's not the main intention of it. And so I do think the biggest thing that I'm looking to double down on is just like cultural status and awareness, and just giving people a sense of like, okay, I'm collecting something that feels in right now, and I'm not doing it because I want to make money. I'm just doing it because I actually feel like this supports my life. This is what I like in the real world. This is something that reflects who I am. So, I mean, 0x Designer has been on a banger hot streak on Twitter lately, but this one specifically just really stood out to me.
I also, though, really resonate with what DC investors saying here. Still hear what's gone into the people who were pretending to collect, and the people who were pretending to collect and just flipping made up a significant part of that market. I think it was, you know, the big difference between people who like held and round tripped were people who were like genuinely interested in collecting and are still holding a lot of those assets today. And the market, that group of people is still very small for digital collectibles or NFTs, PFPs, whatever we want to call them.
Right.
It's just a patronage market.
Yeah.
It is.
I guess, Chevy, what's your thoughts on how you're approaching Blueprint next cohort and how you want to be taking some of those learnings into the next cohort, given all the different varieties and flavors that are out there right now? You feel like you've evolved your thinking on this at all?
Nothing changed too much from the last episode we recorded. I think the only thing that I've been thinking more actively about is coining content on behalf of all the creators instead of doing it as an NFT. But I don't have any like concrete insight. The thing that has been lurking in the back of my mind is how can we change BP.fund's experience to feel maybe more like a Patreon, right? And less of like a mint platform where you get cash back for supporting versus an incentive. Like, people understand the concept of cash back, and incentives are like the way to do that. I've also been testing my pitch with my normie friends because nobody understands what I do. Yep. And it's always a question that comes up, and I always try to like dumb it down for them, which then ends up challenging how I think about what we're doing and our value prop as well. Because when I started using the word cash back, they're like, oh, you give us cash back and like points for what we do. Like, I understand that. Like, I earn credit card points, I earn cash back. when I'm a loyal member. Like I get that. So I'm also like, as part of our off season is thinking, how can we even like obscure a lot more of the crypto stuff that we have in the interface and maybe make it more normal and use vibe coding tools to help achieve that.
I have a question I want to ask
Yeah.
on that, to be purposefully provocative. So right now, market's down a little bit. We're all sitting here talking more about how we want to make our products more user friendly and take away a lot of the crypto aspects. If the market changes in 3 months, do you think we'd all be singing a different tune, or are those like cycles kind of like we're past that stage? You
I think
guys,
we're past that.
yeah,
Past that for sure. I just
Yeah,
think
I
we've
think-
seen time and time again, like the local ceiling on what that demographic can offer, and then what they want out of you is just not scalable. Like if we just, are relying on those people forever, then it's not going to take us anywhere too promising. And I think to your point, Adam, I actually like really want to challenge this word normie. You know what I mean? I think that there's like this sense of superiority in crypto, that because we are in crypto and we know how to use wallets and stuff, that like we are the real people, and that the people that are not into crypto are like normies, or they're dumber, or they're like not able to understand, or something like that. And I've kind of changed my thought on this a lot to be like, okay, well, those are real people. We are the weird ones. We're the people who have all these crazy behaviors and habits that just aren't common by any means. And maybe it's nice when crypto's up a little bit and crypto's hot, but like most times it's not. And if you think about the way that we talk about this industry and the things that we work on and what we're buying, and just like the used cars salesman energy that comes with it, crypto people are the weird fucking people, not like people going to Coachella, like you were saying, Adam, and like going with their friends and, taking out a loan to be able to afford a music festival for a weekend. Like those are real day-to-day people. And so I've been trying to really take a step back and unlearn a lot of my crypto high horse, whatever you want to call it. And instead just really just sit and like, okay, what does a normal person think about this on a day-to-day? And how can I channel that energy into this product and not like come at it from a purely crypto native degenerate standpoint?
I like that approach. I think that is the right frame of thinking.
I think to maybe just like transition a bit though, the challenge that I think we all struggle with is catering both of these audiences, right? I think something that we should dive into on this conversation is, Layer 3 just released Layer 3 V3. There is a bull thesis that 1KX just put out. We just started experimenting with Galaxy and we're running a showcase over there. And I'm the first to say to anyone that I talk to, our product is 99% crypto native users. The people that are buying the content, supporting the artist, are all crypto people who are willing to collect something for a cheap price. They're excited about getting a reward. They're excited about getting points, but they're crypto users and they're a completely different audience. And so I think that this trough that we sit in right now is very interesting because there is such a reliance on these crypto people to be able to funnel and fuel our revenue and fuel our creators and whatnot. And so I guess turning it into a question, Adam and David, as also power users of Layer 3, what have we thought so far about the new season of Layer 3? And then what do we think about the article that Peter shared on the L3 bull case?
End of season, we saw a lot of fires with the introduction of V3. But then again, I think that's the demographic that you're building for. No matter what you do, they'll always be mad. No matter how much you give, whether you give or you don't give, they'll always be mad that you didn't do enough. And I don't know, like I and the team, we spent a lot of time reading through those comments and spending a lot of time in Discord and on Twitter trying to learn, because we are a core part of spend on Layer 3 and the incentives that we provide. And I'm really glad we gave out our pool of incentives of that additional $35,000 to 70% of our users that are still being claimed as we speak. I think we're also seeing like number of cubes being minted. I saw some FUD on the timeline of minted cubes decreasing as well. I didn't take a moment to read this entire thesis that 1KX put out, but for what it's worth, I think Layer 3 handled it quite well. I think their new product looks phenomenal and really sexy, and I think they're just leaning more and more into like the casino element and the casino vibe. And trying to stir up this feeling of like anxiety or like a sense of urgency on the platform to get people to just keep clicking. So I get it. I love the experiment. And it's cool to see 1KX do it. I think it's also funny because 1KX definitely talked to all of us before they did this stuff, and we definitely, I feel like we introduced 1KX in many ways, or reintroduced, because they were already familiar with Layer 3, because we're close with Peter and like the team and whatever, right? Like they'd look at what we're doing and vice versa. So I'm really glad to see that on the timeline, and we kind of all assumed that would happen at some point as well. But shout out to the Layer 3 team for shipping and executing, and they deserve all the what's the word? All the
Praise,
snaps,
all
the
the
claps, the praise. Because
it is funny. Some of the comments that I saw on the L3 V3 launch was like me praising them as a creator on Layer 3 was very different from the reaction as a user of the platform. And it's very interesting, the persona and the relationship we have, where we're building quests every day. We're running quests. We're using that to drive mints, to drive revenue, to do buybacks, etc. Versus like the power user of Layer 3 and their reaction to it. And to your point, Adam, it's just like, people are always going to have crypto people are always going to have an expectation of making more money than they spent when they use a product. And I think that that's a behavior that is very unique to crypto. I don't think that real people believe that if they use a product, they should make more money than what they spent buying a good or a service. And so that's kind of the weird catch-22 here. People are willing to spend more money, but in return for that, they have a larger expectation. And at some point that needs to flip, where there's not an expectation for you to be able to make more than you spent to get these things off the ground.
Peter just makes a good analogy in there that Google was basically the aggregator for content on the internet, and pre-Google it was a lot harder to get discovered. Discoverability was a lot more challenging, and in many ways it was harder to start a business and just have people find you. And Layer 3 does have the potential to be the aggregator for crypto, and we're seeing that with all of us. So I thought that was a really good analogy that Peter threw in there. And I don't know if you're pulling that up or where you are in there. But the other thing that was really interesting to me was Peter didn't write this, and a lot of people aren't writing this, but I think there is going to be wage disruption and employment disruption because of AI in the next couple of years. I think people are already feeling that. I think Adam, just like replace points or crypto with cash back. Like Layer 3 is a cashback platform where you participate on different products, and as you participate, you're able to earn something.
But if you end up talking to these users, nobody has really ended up making a profit using Layer 3. They've all lost money historically. Even with these seasonal rewards, a lot of what I feel like Layer 3 is banking on is the networks and the projects that they partner with end up doing their airdrops to these users. And Layer 3 can be credited for doing those partnerships.
But we're all doing a version of that. And I think I don't think Humeworld can, like, from my vantage point, like, could succeed if we don't continue to do some version of that. Maybe it's more like jackpots, which I know, I don't know exactly how it works, but like Layer 3 is introducing more of these like jackpot rewards, which have more, it seems like it has more of like a lottery focus. So shifting it from like the idea of like, okay, not every single person is going to be profitable, but most people aren't profitable playing the lottery either.
I think that's a good framing of it. It's like not everyone across the board is going to come out in the profit, but if there can be a system that's designed to reward, the top users or a couple of lucky users, something like that, you can give people enough dopamine to keep playing because they are shooting for that like 1000x outcome, which is the jackpot, which is the surprise airdrop that you got, etc. So yeah, definitely, I see where that's going. For sure.
No, I think one thing that's really interesting, and we're thinking about this at Pods, is like, how can you start to gamify that reward or that cash back, Adam, that you've been talking about? And like one interesting idea is kind of like the spinner. And David, I think you guys do something like this where it's like you mint and then you get a spin on the wheel, and it might be 0x back, but it might be also be 5x or 10x, or maybe you have a 1% chance of hitting the 100x. And I think that gamification mechanism feels like it's really tailored for these people that are looking for that 1% outcome of getting 100x back. So I'm excited to kind of see more people use that, or just see how they can gamify that reward, that cashback reward, in new ways. So
if you read the comments, people don't like the unpredictability of rewards. They prefer predictable.
But they don't like
rewards.
anything. To your point, Adam, you give them predictable rewards and they complain. You give them unpredictable rewards with outsized outcomes and they complain. So it's like
less. less. They complain less. Regardless, they are always going to complain, but they complain less from what I've seen, at least.
But then you could do, maybe it's like a 50% cashback, and then instead of like the 80%, that last 30-40% is reserved for like a wheel type spin that maybe you get more.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a mix somewhere. There's a
Sure.
balance.
I guess it's interesting on my end. My orientation internally is that trying to solve the rewards format that excites crypto users is a path that is very difficult to walk on. And so instead, our focus is now just like, how do we get to people who don't have any expectation of any cash back to need to be able to participate in these products in the first place? I mean, Lucas, you guys are like down the same path as well right now, where I saw you just, added privy wallets and email signups and whatnot. And that's the tip of the iceberg. I think for me, the first step is making a product tangibly usable for real people. And I think that like basically the standard here is like rodeo. You sign up with an email, you get an embedded wallet, you're buying credits, you buy those credits with Apple Pay, you use those to collect, and then you're in the game. I think people do understand this idea of like buying a digital item as a repost and being able to earn when other people buy that after you as like a referral program. That actually does make a lot of sense to people. I just don't think that there's a network effect that makes that form of earning feel tangible yet. And my ambition is that if that can be the primary way in which people earn by developing a network, a following, whatever you want to call it, and almost like influencing to their audience in the same way that brand deals exist on Instagram, I think that actually feels like the path that is more realistic to figure out than like, the lottery jackpot system that'll satisfy the crypto native degen farmer. But again, it's both. It's not one or the other. It's not exclusively the wheel or exclusively like the collect as a repost type thing. Like I feel like the best world is a combination of both of those two products in one.
I would the only thing I would challenge is that people are incentivized by money, even the normies are, and they like signing up for things that have good offers. And even I often think about like the credit card, like the decision paralysis around credit cards and how many different credit cards there are and the different benefits and offers that they provide. And some people are more sensitive to cash back. Other people are more sensitive to credit card points, and like 7x points on every single dollar that you spend at a gas station. So then it's like maybe the fault is trying to segment everybody into one sort of reward system versus being able to offer different types of rewards, to your point. So I like that framing for sure. I like that framing. How does it pertain to supporting content? Maybe we're tying incentives to the wrong action. Maybe this model doesn't perform best under patronage of content. Maybe it's through some other form of action that needs to be rewarded.
I think the flywheel we've been playing with is purchasing the content gives you points, and then you can use those points to do other things. So those things can be spinning the wheel. Those things can also be AI chat and talking to the artist. And I think we can all figure out what I think we all need to figure out what those other items are for this to work for any of us. That's interesting. Yeah, I think this is like the future for them. Yeah. 100x outcomes every hour. That's a great.
This guy probably bought something for $1 and made $119.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's something that I think that normal people would be into too.
All in USDC.
All in USDC. Also, another great thing to call out is like, I think the USDC train is coming sooner than we think. I think everything on Coop will be in USDC probably by the end of this year.
Me too. For us.
It makes a lot of sense to me. I also want to give a slight topic change here, but I want to give a quick shout out to the Matt Huang Paradigm article. Took some time to read it this week, did a full deep dive. One of the best articles I've read in crypto in a very long time. It wasn't just like it was like blowing smoke up his ass. Like it was like a whole biopic background, origins of Paradigm, meeting Fred, starting that company, the research labs that they developed, all the infrastructure they developed for the Ethereum ecosystem. It was really, really impressive. I think at times I don't know how to say this. I realize that I'm pretty dumb relative to a lot of people in the world. When I read articles like that, like I'm very happy with myself and my strengths and, what I'm doing in life and whatnot. But I read like something like that article and I just see the way that they built that firm and the way that they're able to think on those time horizons and develop like the different, Uniswap pricing algorithms and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, damn, there are people who are so much smarter than me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that article really motivated me to want to be a good representative of the space. That's really what it was. I feel like we need more use cases like that, where there's people being represented in this space who have been here for a long time. And you could look at and just be like, that person is A-class citizen of the crypto industry. They're doing great work. They'll continue to do great work. And I'm proud to be in an industry adjacent to that person.
Yeah.
I've been feeling the opposite of that lately, and I think it's a big problem.
What do you mean?
Like, I obviously have a lot of respect for the people on this call and what everybody on this call does. And then, yes, there are the Matts of the world. But I look around and I'm like, the list of people that I truly respect in this industry who I think are doing great work that I aspire to be able to do is a very, very short list. And it really shouldn't be that short, because to your point, Cooper, like, I'm not the greatest person in the world. Like I'm not the most intelligent. I'm not the smartest. And you look around the space and you're like, it's a short list of people that you're like, wow, that person is building something that's unbelievable, that's sustainable, that's long-term, that I aspire to build something like.
Right.
It's can probably be counted on 2 hands, maybe 4 hands tops, like absolute maximum.
Chevy, what do you think? Where
I
do you
agree.
land on that spectrum?
No, I agree. I'm constantly just listening. I always feel like I'm the dumbest person in the room. I'll tell you this: when we were doing crypto startup school, for the Bello idea, they had a documentary crew following us for almost a year and a half.
I remember that.
And they had a lot of, and like it's finally coming out and it's getting into film festivals, and like we're getting to premiere it and see it on the big screen. And it's really cool just to see that progress. And there's a snippet in that documentary where I have such, I forgot what the word, but I'm basically sitting there and saying, like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm just a podcaster, like, what am I doing in this room with this guy who had an exit to Dropbox, or this guy who built a protocol that had tens and hundreds of millions of transaction volume running through it? Like, I just create content. Like, what am I doing here? And what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. Come on, give it to me. What's the word?
For what?
There's a phrase, imposter syndrome. It's imposter syndrome. Come on, you guys, imposter syndrome. So,
don't get mad at
but
us.
I think that's normal. I think it's very,
You're like, come on, guys. You didn't even.
It's the imposter syndrome, and I think it's very real. And I'm sure he also feels it as well, right? I think it's maybe it's just like it gets stronger with the more like higher level people into what you define as higher level, right, in your life that you hang around. And I think it's a feeling of growth, honestly. It's a feeling of discomfort, and it's a feeling of growth. And you can feel that in many ways, whether it be physically with people reading an article. And I think it's a beautiful thing in many ways. But I definitely co-sign that. I know that feeling. And there's for sure only a handful of people in the space that maybe meet that criteria for me that I aspire and look up to within crypto and outside of crypto. But it's very hard because it's not just based off like dollar figure in the account. It's also based off a foundation of values, and like ethics on how they operate as well. That's very hard to find.
I was going to say, I think I can think of more people outside of crypto, even just people I've come across work. Like in crypto, it's all the Matts and the Jessies and the people who have been here for a while and have created something sustainable and have proven that they have ethics and morals. And it's people who are like really done quite well. When I think about like other industries or other people I come across, I can think of people that might in that industry, they might just seem like not just another person, but not necessarily the top of the top. But I have a lot of respect for what they've done, and I do aspire to certain elements of what they've accomplished, even if they're not like worth $1 billion and an early investor in TikTok and a bunch of the most important crypto platforms. And I think that's like, it's weird that in crypto, the bar is like, it's like there's this, and then it's like there's just crap.
Yeah. I think that's every industry though. I would say that the biggest reason that I was so at peace this weekend during the festival is there was such a recognition of like your own self journey and your own self-worth and your own self-happiness, and being able to step away from company goals and achievements and just being like, how much money did we make today, or how big is our user base or something like that. I just think it's really important in these like limbo times to be able to find peace within yourself and just be like thankful for your progress. I mean, all of us on this call have come a super, super long way since starting our respective companies, what we were doing prior to this company, et cetera. And I'd say right now, all problems considered, we're in a really great position. We're at the forefront of content creators coming on chain and figuring out how to monetize content in a new world. And the more that I take a step back, and especially after this Coachella weekend, I just felt so good about just like the trust in this space being able to develop into something that is meaningful over blank period of time. It's probably not going to be tomorrow. It's probably not going to be 6 months from now, but it's just like, there really aren't a lot of people that are like all in on bringing real world content on chain and working with like really high value creators and finding new ways to break outside of crypto. And it feels very fortunate that I think all of us here are taking our own approaches to doing that in a way that feels unique to our own personal interest.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to cover as part of this wonderful episode?
I know it was a little bit choppy. I think that we're probably in a good spot right now. I just want to kind of end on like a positive note. Crypto's tough right now. For anyone that's listening to this, you're probably going through it. Note. No, I mean, I'll bring it back there, but like Bitcoin's down, ETH's down, products are in a tough spot, getting users in a tough spot, et cetera. But I don't know. I'm just thankful for where we're at. I think that there's a lot of good opportunity on the table. I think that the next 12 months are going to be a lot more fruitful than anyone's giving it credit for right now. Having been through this a few times, I know I said this last week, but I'm not worried. I'm not like here being like, holy shit, I'm freaking out. Like I need to sell all my crypto. I'm like, where's this going to go? I think just like take a deep breath and chill for a second. You know what I mean? All this stuff's going to work itself out if you just zoom out far enough and trust what we've been here doing for years and years prior to this.
Love it. I agree. And that's NAC. You can listen to this episode on pods.media. Collect this episode, and we'll see you on the next episode. What is Lucas's outro that he usually does?
That's about it.
That's it.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Awesome.
We missed you, Lucas.